Be the 20th nationwide caller now to 1-877-565-WINS to score $1,000 in Doc's Money Shot. 1-877-565-WINS on 700 WLW, the big one.
All right, these alternative fountains are already taken off. A guy just called in and said his daughter's having a nacho cheese fountain. That's the creativity I'm looking for out of the tri-state. 11:06, we'll talk more about it. Do you support Doc's Law? I am willing to do my part. I'm willing to campaign. I'm willing to hit the streets. I'm willing to attend meetings and rallies and festivals and parades. I'll protest. I'll march to the Capitol. I will walk from the tri-state to the Capitol, even if it takes me a week to do it, if we can get Doc's Law passed. Well, I'm calling it Doc's Law because I talked with State Rep Danny Bupp yesterday. I said, listen, I'm willing to get behind it. You don't have to call it Doc's Law, but I'm willing to put it out there. I'm willing to do what I have to do to bring about change to the state of Ohio. I'm willing to put in the time, lend my name to help promote a piece of legislation because it's good for the people of Ohio. The good people of Indiana and Kentucky have already led the way. They've seen the light. They recognize their own version of Doc's Law, and it is the future. I've seen it. States all across America have decided that they, too, like the idea, the concept of Doc's Law. And slowly they've been putting it into place. Yes, unfortunately, Ohio is in the bottom half. Yet we are being slow to enact a Doc-type law. But it is time that we set free the people of Ohio. Set them free! If you're driving on 75 right now, 71, 275, wherever you're driving, on an interstate in Ohio, shouldn't you be able to drive faster? Why are we limiting you to 65? Why are we holding you back? You're out there hitting the streets. You're out there going to your job. You're out there being a good parent and taking your kids to soccer practices. You're out there taking part in commerce. You're out there meeting people. You're doing, you're achieving. You're not sitting on your butt collecting welfare. You're not out there saying, give me an Occupy in some place. You are commuting somewhere on the interstates to take part in activity that is probably going to be good for the tri-state. Why shouldn't you be able to do it quickly? Wouldn't that make an impact on your day, if for nothing else, other than make your day just a little bit brighter, knowing that you are not stuck in traffic quite as long? And wouldn't you like to see traffic zip along a little bit faster? So if you do get stuck behind some accident somewhere, you've already been going faster? I want to avoid as many as possible. Let me get there. Let me do what I have to do with as little aggravation as possible. As I head to work, I head out to events, dinner, whatever it is, I just want to get there. My joy is not in the journey. I'm sorry. My joy is in getting there and taking part in the activity. Now, it would be different if there was a little circus or a puppet show or something enjoyable going on in the car. I have no problem with it then. Maybe there's some enjoyable activity, but let's face it, most of the time, we're going to our stinking jobs. You just want to get there and get it over with. You're running a bunch of errands, taking the kids places, picking up groceries, whatever. You just want to get there and get it over with. Have you done it? Have you been, after a long day, you're heading home. You're a mile or so from your house. You start driving down one of the back streets. There you get the person in front of you, going half the speed limit. And have you found yourself saying, just go, I just want to get home? I said it last night. I actually said it out loud in the car. It's 40 on Branch Hill, Guinea Road. Can you at least tick it up over 30? The person's doing like 22. I just want to get there. So even when I'm stuck behind people like that, I will have peace of mind if we pass a Doc-type law legislation that at least my trip has been faster in general, because if I was out on the interstate and it was 70, I'm already ahead of the game, where I would have been without a Doc law type scenario. Do you support Doc's Law? I say we lock it in. We lock in the maximum speed limit on the interstates of Ohio at 70 miles per hour. We pass the legislation and say the maximum you can go, 70 miles an hour. And we leave it that way until we can get 75. and then 80, and then 85. Yes, I don't want it to stop there. Doc's law is for 70 miles an hour. I understand the political gamesmanship. I understand rolling with the political punches. When I talked to Danny Bupp, he said that he would be in support of 70. He didn't know if 75. You have to think about that. One of his colleagues was going to introduce 75. Love to have 75. Love to have 85. I'd love to have unlimited, especially in rural areas. There's parts of America, not like in Montana and places. You get out to the rural parts, they don't care how fast you're going. I'd love to have that. But I understand the political game. And if I came out and said, listen, Doc's law, we need it to be 90. Oh, everybody would be crazy. There'd be so many accidents. You can't do that. And I'd start losing political support all across the place. So in order to get head in the right direction, we just chip away at it. We start at 70. Who knows where we'll go from there? Why shouldn't you be able to go 70 or 75 miles an hour between Lebanon and Grove City? Really? I would say you should be able to do it most everywhere on the interstates. But certainly between Lebanon and Grove City. And how about maybe north of Columbus? All the way up to South Cleveland? Of course, just let people go. How about you truckers? You'd like to tick that up a little bit? Get there a little bit faster? On Monday, I had the day off, and I had to take care of some business in Indiana. So I headed out 74. I get to the state line, 70 miles an hour. Oh. The angels started singing. My day got just a little bit better. Even though I was running an errand that I didn't want to do, my day was a little bit better. And driving back as I was on the Hoosier State highways, zipping along at 70 miles an hour legally, and then I got to the Ohio line, back down to 65. Parts of Kentucky has it. West Virginia has it. Virginia has it. Parts of Pennsylvania has it. We are surrounded by states that have recognized, yes, we should be able to drive faster as human beings. Why not? It's good for the economy. I laid that argument out yesterday. Of course it's good for the economy. If you and I are burning through more gasoline, someone has to supply the gasoline. So the oil companies, they're selling more gasoline. They're refining more oil. More money into the system and more jobs. You need more workers out there drilling for oil and finding oil to keep up with our demand as we drive faster and faster. Well, we've seen the amount of taxes taken in by the federal government and all the states decrease on gasoline because we have more fuel-efficient cars. Well, it may be good for the environment, according to some people, but we don't have as much money coming in taxes. They say we got to raise the taxes. No. Allow Doc and everybody else to drive faster. I'll take you up on that offer. Allow us to legally drive faster, and we're going to burn through more gasoline, and you're going to get more taxes in gasoline. More money into the coffers so we can pay firefighters and police officers and teachers and everybody else that works for government. We can build more roads and bridges because you're taking in more in taxes. What about the little guys that run those little gas stations? They're running the gas stations there. And contrary to what you believe, a lot of those people who own those little private gas stations, they don't make a whole lot of money off the gasoline. The oil companies are the ones making the money off the gasoline. Those little guys who run the little gas stations, they make a very little amount. Where they make their money is you and I going in and buying coffee or donuts or pornography or cigarettes or beer or pop or whatever it is we buy there. Well, if we're in their store more often, we are going to be enticed to buy more of those things. They're likely going to make more money. They'll make a little more off of the increased sale of gasoline, too. They win. Everybody wins in this scenario. Do you support Doc's law? I'm willing to do what it takes. If I have the support of the people, we'll get it done. Do I have your support to push through legislation that would allow Ohioans to drive a little bit faster on the highways, to make their lives just a little bit better? 513-749-7800, the big one, pound 700 on AT&T. Do you support Doc's law? Doc Thompson, 700 WLW. Doc Thompson on 700 WLW asking if you would support Doc's Law, raising the speed limit in the state of Ohio. I think we are long past due for that. Sean at Coleraine, do you support Doc's Law?
No way. Are you kidding? You got 16-year-old kids that are going to be driving 70, 75 miles an hour down the highway. You got people that are driving down the road that I see every day, texting and not even looking up, and you want them to be able to go 70, 75 miles an hour? That's a joke.
Well, what about them going 65? That's not a problem?
No, personally, I'd put it back to 55 or 60.
So you don't think driving 55 is a problem?
Hey, it's better than 70 or 75.
I mean, if you hit an oak tree going 55, I mean, it's likely that you're going to die.
You're not an oak tree. It's my family. I don't want them hitting my family at 75 miles an hour. I don't want some kid with raging hormones going 80 because he can go 70. It's a joke. No way.
Well, wait a minute. You don't want them to hit your family, but you don't have to be on the roads.
Oh, I don't have to be on the roads. Publicly, I'm not allowed to be on the roads. I pay taxes. You're telling me I don't have to drive on the roads.
No, I didn't say you can't. I said if you're that afraid, if you live in that type of fear, Sean.
No. I don't live in that type of fear. I live in the rules of idiocy, and these people are idiots.
I don't see that much of a difference between 55 and 60 or 50 and 55 if your family's on the road.
There's a big difference on impact. There's a big difference because, like I said, nobody's going to do 70. They're going to do 80. They're going to do 75. They're going to do 85. The kid that's 16 years old is going to go, oh, I didn't think it was that bad of an idea to do 75 miles an hour.
So you would be in favor you would be in favor then of dropping all of the speed limits down to 25 on the interstates.
Oh, now you're being ridiculous.
Why? Well, wait a minute. If you're really worried, hang on, Sean. Hang on. If you're really serious about safety, shouldn't we then just do away with driving?
Oh, yeah, that's a smart answer. No, the smart answer is to be responsible. Like, you only drink 2 drinks. Don't get in the car until you know you're not drunk.
So you're right. I agree.
Wait
a minute. Wait. I agree. Be responsible on the roads. If you are not capable of being safe at driving 75, then don't drive it. Or if you live in fear like you, Sean, then don't be on the roads. You obviously do.
I obviously don't.
You're afraid of somebody legally driving 70?
What is 70 miles an hour going to get you there quicker? 5 minutes?
Well, if you know anything about math, it depends on how far you're driving.
Well, yeah, it depends on how far you're driving, but you're not driving that far usually. When you're coming home from work, you don't need to be doing 75 miles an hour.
Sean, I drive hundreds of miles on a regular basis. I drive to Cleveland on a regular basis. I drive to Richmond. I drive to Indiana. I drive all over on a regular basis, hundreds of miles.
Then get you a little prop plane and fly.
See, but I just answered your objection when you said, how fast are you going to get there then if you drive that much faster?
What I'm saying to you,
well, I just pointed out I made a legitimate price. Huh?
It's all about you. It's not about safety. I'm more interested in saving lives than killing people going 75 miles an hour. The high school kid that gets his license and goes out at 16 years old with his buddies and everything, he doesn't have no experience, no responsibility. He's out running around acting like a fool. He's going 75 miles an hour down the road because of you.
So we should not allow kids to drive at 16 is what you're saying?
I didn't say that either. I say there should be a responsibility.
So if that kid is driving 65, he's not a danger if he's being irresponsible?
No, I would rather have the law at 55 the way it used to be.
Or 55. Then that's okay if he's being irresponsible and texting then.
20 miles an hour difference, yeah. 15 to 20 miles an hour difference when you get hit is a big deal.
Well, then let's be even safer and drop it to 45.
Oh, no, we're getting ridiculous again.
See, that's my point, Sean. You want to arbitrarily set the number. If you are really saving lives, Sean, then you would support Sean's law that would say, let's drop it to 25.
Oh, no,
otherwise, you're arbitrarily setting a number. You know what it is, Sean? It's like this. Did you ever
make it 100 miles an hour and make it your law?
Yes, thank you for supporting it, Sean. Unlimited. Thank you.
Everybody else is.
Yes, thank you. Sean, you have what George Carlin described many years ago as the person who drives down the road, and anybody who's driving slower than you is an idiot, and anyone driving faster than you is a maniac. It's all perspective. See, you say, yes, 50, that's reasonable. Anything lower, that's just, you're being ridiculous now, Doc. If you really are about safety and personal responsibility, then make everybody personally responsible. Allow them to decide what's right for them. Doesn't that make sense? Unless you want to arbitrarily set it based on what you think is safe for everybody. Listen, there are people out there that should not be driving at all. Oh, I see them every day. There's people out there that probably shouldn't be on the interstates, but maybe okay on the side streets. People out there that maybe shouldn't drive over 50. And there's plenty of people out there, some of the very responsible truckers, the people that this is their life. They are professional drivers, truckers, limo drivers, people who do this professionally, that have that skill set and have logged many, many hours on the roads. Why shouldn't they be able to drive 85? Make them more efficient and make America and Ohio a better place. Perhaps I'm wrong. More of your calls coming up next. Do you support Doc's Law in Ohio? Raising the speed limit to at least 70 for now. Doc Thompson, 700 WLW. All right, the support's starting to roll in. My coworkers have been filing into the studio one after the other to say, right on, Doc's Law. Some of them already said that they are going to get the T-shirts made up right away. The buttons and banners are on the way as well. The emails are starting to come in, and the phone calls. We're going to get to some of those in just a second. Got David saying, Doc, what if the state taxed those who wanted to drive faster than 65? Let's say you wanted to drive 70, 75, and you pay an extra $100 a year. Now, I would much rather, David, just have an unlimited speed limit eventually. Just go ahead and make it unlimited on the highways. Make people personally responsible. But if that were really not a possibility, I may be in favor of that. But if I'm going to pay the state $100 a year, it better be a hell of a lot higher than 75. No. I want to say, listen, I want to get to Cleveland in about an hour. You let me ticket up their Audubon speeds, we are all set. Let's hear from a trucker, Josh, on a cell. What do you think about Doc's Law?
I think it's a great idea, but I was thinking, last caller kind of stole my thunder, but what if we have separate licenses? You pay X amount of dollars to go ahead and, say you can drive 75, and that would be, one class up, and eventually you pay X amount of dollars, you can have an unlimited speed limit.
How long have you been a driver, Josh?
Oh, about 10 years.
All right, so you remember the Ohio days of the truckers had to go a little bit slower.
Yeah, I remember that very well.
That had to be awful.
Yes, sir.
Well, I would think that if anybody should be able to drive faster, it should be the truckers. You guys are the experts, right?
In my opinion, yeah. Absolutely.
And what happens to most truckers, Josh, if you get a bunch of tickets?
Oh, you'll lose your job.
There it is.
Every ticket is substantially higher for us than it is for most.
So the point is the pressure's on you, not only with your experience as being a professional driver, the pressure is on you to be even more responsible. You are the one who should be able to drive faster even. John in Cincinnati, you're on 700 WLW. How are you, Johnny? Well, there we go. Let's get Johnny in Dayton. How are you?
How you doing?
Are you in favor of Doc's Law?
Yes, very much so. Between Lebanon and Grove City, if you don't drive 80 miles an hour, you're getting pushed off the road.
I'm thinking it is unlimited between that stretch. I think you just open it up and say people just go.
Yeah, I mean, I drove there even at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work in Columbus. I mean, if you're not going 80 miles an hour, you're in everyone's way.
You know what's going to happen, though? You get the outlet lobby that'll say, whoa, we don't want you going so fast by our outlet. We want you to have to look at it as long as possible so we can entice you in. We'll have to battle with that lobby.
Yep.
All right, thanks, buddy. Appreciate the call. Ooh, look who's calling in. Quick call from Rich Hoffman from No Lakota Levy. As an individual, you are supporting Doc's Law?
As soon as we're done with the Lakota Levy, I am on with you. We're going to have T-shirts. We're going to put signs.
All right.
We're going to have a lobby. I am a huge supporter of Doc's Law.
Excellent. You are a wise man. You've proven that once again, and I'm happy to have your support. You're a man who knows how to get the advertising message out when it comes to political campaigns. We'll get together. We'll break bread. We'll have a beer, and we'll lay out the whole plan.
Oh, absolutely. You know, that first caller that you had, the guy that wanted to go 55 miles an hour, I have to change my brakes on my car this weekend because – when you're going 80, 90 miles an hour and you come up on somebody like that and you have to hit your brakes and slow down to 55 miles an hour, and then you have to speed back up, you burn up all that gas doing so. It's really bad for your maintenance on your car. It's terrible.
I absolutely agree. Think about all the jobs we're going to create. Oh, this is looking up. This may be the way forward.
This is the way to solve a lot of problems in the state of Ohio.
All right, Rich Hoffman.
It's awesome.
I appreciate your support. Thank you so much, proving once again that you are a wise man. Greg on a cell, you're on 700 WLW.
Yeah, Doc, I'm definitely in favor of your Doc's Law.
Excellent.
Drive for a living. I have been for probably about 30 years now, close to it. Delivering pizzas, driving a truck over the road. I've done it all. And now I'm a courier. Anyway, I don't know if you knew this or not, but there's a law in the state of Ohio now that if you get 3 speeding tickets within 1 year, that it turns into, the third one turns into a 4th-degree misdemeanor, meaning that they could put you in jail for 30 days and suspend your license for 30 days.
This is outrageous, Greg.
Yes, well, I know because I'm going through it. I just got my third one up in Xenia on the same stretch of highway you're talking about. I was coming home from Columbus. I had just made a delivery of a medical stat in Columbus, and I was on my way home and got pulled over in Xenia. He said I was doing 85 and a 65. I don't really believe that. But, now it's turned into a 4th-degree misdemeanor, and I could possibly lose my license for 30 days. That would put me out of a job and financially kill me and my family.
Greg, I want you to think about what are we really doing when we're driving anyways? What is our goal? We're trying to get someplace to do something. We are being active. We are taking part in activity. How is that a bad thing to want to take part in that activity as quickly and as efficiently as possible? How is that wrong? That is not the attitude of the America I know. The attitude, the America I know, says we could continue to push west. We're not going to let those mountains get in our way. We're going to push west. We're going to go over those mountains. When we get to the other side, we're going to continue west. When we get to the next mountains, we're going to still continue west. The America I know says, let's get out and do. A pair of brothers from Dayton said, you know what? Why can't people fly? Why can't they get it done? 100 years later, we're putting a man on the moon. Actually, not even 70 years later, a man on the moon. That's the America I know, the can do, that doesn't say, you can do, but not too quickly. We don't want it to go too fast. No, get out of my way. Take the shackles off. Free the people of Ohio. Austin checked in via email. He said, Doc, God forbid you get stuck behind someone in the rain and they act like it's death falling from the sky. Oh, I know what you're talking about. They act like they've never even seen rain. What is this? What is this stuff coming from the sky? This is horrible. They drive about 5 miles an hour. Ethan out of Cell, you're on 700 WLW.
Hello?
Hello there. You're on the air, sir.
Yes, sorry. I think you could do it. I think it's a good idea, but let's look at a country that's done it already, the Autobahn in Germany. I mean, they have a lot of different regulations. For example, you cannot drive a car on the Autobahn that has rust. Education, I mean, their kids, when they go through schooling to drive a car, I mean, it's almost learning to be a race car driver. 70 shouldn't be a problem. You go higher than that, you really need to change the types of cars and the education people have when they're on the street.
I am willing to take that into consideration. I'm willing to get it done. You're right. In fact, I've said before, even with our current speed limits, I don't think kids get enough training.
Well, look at what you said about the rain, okay? I was just driving on 75 a few weeks ago in the rain, that corner coming up, downtown, coming onto 75, and a car slid across 3 lanes of traffic into the berm, and it's all about tread. For example, you can't go on the Autobahn if you don't have a certain amount of tread on your tires, and we don't, here in the United States, we don't do any of that stuff. I mean, any piece of junk, you just drive it. You just can't do that when you're going 90 miles an hour. The one thing in the Autobahn, when they do have accidents, they bring a bulldozer. I mean, it's a complete mess.
Oh, yeah, it's done. Yeah,
when they wreck, they wreck.
Yep.
That's the only other thing. Truckers going that fast, ask any trucker, how long does it take for you to slow down from 80 miles an hour to 50 miles an hour? It's a heck of a lot longer than somebody in a car. So you've got those problems, too. It's, you got to look at technology, education. I mean, you could do all that, but you'd really have to change the mindset of the American driver.
And see, that's where I'm at, Peter. I have the can-do attitude. I have the attitude that says we can start training our young kids to actually drive properly. We can teach them. Sure we can. And we can build better roads that will last longer. We have the technology to do that already, but guess what? They don't build them to last as long because then some people wouldn't get to have a job repairing them down the road. We have all kinds of technology at our disposal. Let's put people to work and make their lives a little bit better by supporting Doc's Law. More of your calls next, 700 WLW. Doc Thompson on 700 WLW. We have a slew of engineers that keep our staff, our stations on the air. They handle everything technical. Computer engineers, broadcast engineers. I mean, just across the board. Bunches of them. And I just had one stop in that said, Doc, as an engineer, I can say that is a sound idea. Excellent. I like it. Doc's Law. Raise the speed limit in Ohio up to 70. Now, it is 70 in Ohio on the turnpike. Parts of the turnpike, you can drive 70. But why not the rest of the interstates? All of the states around us have 70 miles an hour. All of them. There's one state that only allows people to go a maximum of 60 anywhere in the state, and that is Hawaii. Alaska is limited to 65. Alaska? They should just say, listen, if you are willing to deal with this cold, you can do whatever the hell you want. There are states, though, that are 80 and toying with the idea of 85. Parts of West Texas are already 80, and they've toyed with the idea of punching it up there a little bit more, up to about 85. Utah, the entire state, eligible for 80 miles an hour. Nevada, Idaho, Montana, all the way from the Rocky Mountains east to the Dakotas, Nebraska, those are all about 75. Most of the East Coast is 70 miles an hour. Florida, the entire South, is 70 miles an hour, or a couple of them are 80. Up in New England, then it gets tacked down to 65. It's funny, the big control freak states, they're all still limited to 65. Probably with the exception, quick glance, of California's 70, parts of it. But Illinois, big control freak states there. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, all the way up into the New England states. All big control freaks. All right, back to the phones we go. Let's go to John in Cincinnati. Do you support Doc's Law?
Oh, absolutely, Doc.
What would be reasonable speed limit? I say that if you position it right, we train people, and we put the responsibility on them, there are parts that you could say unlimited.
Oh, absolutely. My comment, I'm an insurance appraiser. I drive a lot for a living. And I know guys in other states that have higher speed limits. They don't have any more wrecks than what we have, so what's the difference here? What's the point of not driving that fast other than maybe raising money by tickets?
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'd like to see some of those police officers not have to worry about, running radar at 60, 65, certainly so I don't get tickets, but also because I think most police officers actually want to be solving, investigating, and preventing crime.
Yeah, I'm way more worried about them out solving murders than I am getting somebody for doing 10 miles an hour over the speed limit when it's already too low to start with.
Absolutely. And let's face it, people easy, well, if you do 70, people drive 75 and 80. Yeah, you're basing that on the fact that if it's 65, they're already driving 70 and 75. Great. So what you're saying essentially is then people are already driving 70 and we're okay with that, right?
Absolutely. You got to look at Georgia. Speed limit's 70, and most people don't drive any less than 85, and you'll still get passed by a cop.
All I know is that when I'm going long distance, which is quite frequently, I count the whole time. I look at it and I go, okay, I'm going 100. I got to go about 100 miles. Are you serious? If I could go up near 100, I'd be there in an hour. I mean, I do the math all the time like that.
I drive to Florida half a dozen times a year, and you think of it the whole way down there. Gee, if I could be doing 85 legally right now.
Yeah,
I can't get too many tickets because I got a company car I got to deal with too. But it's ridiculous up here.
Yep, I think the same thing. When you're driving that distance, you're like, okay, I'm going to drive about 400 miles or 800 miles or whatever it is. I could get there 2 hours earlier. Man, that's just good for the world. Doc Thompson at 700 WLW. What weird things have you seen or heard at a wedding? What happened at your wedding? The in-laws come over. They get all liquored up. You got that brother-in-law who talks like this and bring his gun in? Anything like that? We're going to share some wild stories with you at about 11:06. In the meantime, check out my blog at 700WLW.com for a new wedding favor, I guess you'd call. Is it a favor? Is it a service? Food item? Food delivery method? attraction. Yeah, I guess it's kind of attraction for some. It is a fountain, not a chocolate fountain, but a ketchup fountain. You'll want to see those pictures. Doc Thompson at 700 WLW. Everybody. I don't think I can do 65 or 75 either. We're going to have to make that the official Doc's Law theme song, I think. Redo it. I can't drive 85. Get out of the way. I got things to do. Maybe you don't have anything to do in the world. Maybe you don't have any place to be. I got things to do. I have things I have to accomplish. I want to get there as quickly as possible. Just got a text message from Tracy Jones, who is outraged. He'd gone ballistic. He sent me 3 of them in a row that I would suggest that truckers should be able to drive faster. He wants truckers to have to drive slower. Called him a nuisance. I don't know where he thinks he's getting all of his goods from when he goes to the store. Truckers are bringing him in. Called him a nuisance. I asked him after he sent the first one about the trucker. I said, well, what about you? Do you want to drive faster? Oh, yeah, sure. So Tracy wants to be able to drive 75, 80, whatever, but just not truckers. Let's go to Jeff on his cell phone. You're on 700 WLW.
Hello, what's going on?
How are you?
Well, I just got a few thoughts on it. Part of it has got to be the education for the kids, man. I learned to drive in the country. Started driving a lawn and garden tractor when I was 12. By the time I took my driving test, I probably had 200 hours in already, out driving around in the country. So you raise the
amount of time.
Age. Yeah, well, raise the age to 18. Let them cool off a little bit. And I'll tell you something else that might work is special plates. If you want to go that fast, then you should have that may be an extra sticker on your plate that says that you can legally drive 70 miles an hour. Because when I moved from the country to the city, I was astonished at how badly everybody drove. Like you said about the rain. Mm-hmm. A little bit of rain, they're just completely and utterly lost. God forbid it should snow.
Now, it can get pretty muddy, Jeff, if you start saying we're going to give different classes of license and stickers and all that. But maybe there is one thought that if you want to teach kids to drive, maybe they shouldn't be able to drive on the highways for the first year or two. Maybe, you graduate up to that. You start at, 16, get your driver's license after more training. And then after you've driven for a year, maybe you have it for a year without any tickets, and you can go onto the highway, something like that. Maybe there'd be an idea in there. All I know is we're going to continue with Doc's Law. I'm going to do everything I can. Danny Bupp said he's going to look into it. We'll make some calls. This is going to become a big movement. Set the people of Ohio free. Our management has been away for the better part of the week. Big meetings in Chicago, which gives me the opportunity to have the guest on that I'm going to have on at 10:06. A former air personality here on 700 WLW will be in just minutes to tell his story. The home of the best Bengals coverage, 700 WLW.